Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Applebox Chronicles. My name is Peyton Buto.
And I'm Adryon Thomas.
And today on the ABCs, we're taking you from A to Z on Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds from 2005. I almost said Disclosure Day, which was last week,
Yeah.
and you can go check that out. But yes, Disclosure Day and Father's Day were recently a thing. Father's Day was yesterday at this time. We also got, or you got rather, this new Spielberg.
Yeah, they put out like this Spielberg Steelbook collection of his greats, and which had like Jaws, Raiders, Close Encounters,
E.T., and Jurassic Park, and Schindler's List.
Yes, and
War of the Worlds.
And I was like, War of the Worlds is kind of a weird one to put in his greatest list, because I'm not saying there's a lot of haters out there, but there's a few people that have criticisms about it, and I wouldn't call it like the top of the echelon of what Spielberg has done. But I think they really just put it in there because Disclosure Day was coming out, and they just needed
That's probably why they released it all together.
Yeah.
And so they're like, we need to hit the Alien movies.
But honestly, even I have grown to love this movie more and more every time I watch it. Like, at this point, I do think it is slept on, and a lot of people are probably giving it more crap than it needs, because this movie is just awesome. Like, it's so cool.
I'm actually surprised to hear that there's haters, because, I mean, I've only seen it twice, and both times I watched it was with you, and both times I've been like, this is a great film. Like,
yeah,
what is the problem here? I don't know how you could really hate on this too much. There's very few, I think, issues with it for what it's trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I just think people, like usual, are just kind of watching it for just, they're just kind of in one ear out the other, and some of the stuff that pokes out to them is a bit more literal in the movie than it's meant to be. Like, the movie's very metaphorical to like 9/11.
Obviously, yeah.
And Spielberg has even said that many times. Like, it's a very obvious metaphor for 9/11 and all the repercussions of that event, and
all the different ways people responded to it.
Yeah,
you kind of just get that through this like one journey with this one family they go through, and they're just watching the world around them react to what's going on, and how some of them react too. And it's all, you could draw so many parallels there.
Yeah, but
we'll get into it.
Yeah, I guess there are moments that are metaphors for things that are done very literally in the movie, and I guess people just didn't like that, or they didn't understand what the movie was doing. But it's fine. I kind of like it. I think it gives it a bit of personality. But yeah, I don't know. I just was getting really into Spielberg because of Disclosure Day, and I was like, we should just talk about this movie.
Yeah. Well, to be full disclosure, we had like other stuff that we were on the slate, but in practice, it just wasn't as interesting.
Yeah.
And there was context around it that we needed, that we didn't have time to like watch all these other movies to get it. But yeah, this seemed to be a pretty nice pivot, because again, it was just Father's Day. This is a movie about fatherhood in a sense as well, and it's Spielberg and aliens, and that's here right now. So yeah.
So we just thought we would kind of give it a bit of a revisit and kind of just go through it. Well, I guess we could start off with like the production of the movie, which I think was very interesting, because this is the second time that Spielberg has worked with Tom Cruise. I hope it's not the last time, honestly, because I think another Spielberg Cruise movie could be like peak.
Oh cinema. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it could be amazing. I I'm a huge Minority Report fan.
Oh, it's so good.
Like, I think that
It's
for
so
me
good.
is probably a top tier Spielberg film. I think if I watched it again, it would really solidify itself.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen it once, but that movie just it hooks me. Like,
It's so yeah. Like it's like a noir film. It's a sci-fi film. There's some scary elements in it. There's some funny elements in it. It's just
yeah,
everything it needs to be.
I
And
just have
great.
this easily fascinated kind of goblin brain sometimes when I'm watching certain movies. Certain concepts like just get me, like like the whole Minority Report thing, the way they're catching crimes before they happen. Like with that scene where he demonstrates it with the ball.
Oh yeah,
I was like, "Oh fuck, that kind of makes sense."
yeah. And I
It's like
mean,
when there's a simple metaphor like that, I
even
just eat it up.
even that scene, the way it's shot is just so good. Uh, but yeah, this is the second time that Tom Cruise and Spielberg has worked together after Minority Report, and apparently the script for, well, they were talking about like what they could do together, and War of the Worlds was one of the first things that they talked about, and Spielberg was like, yeah, let's do War of the Worlds. And so they had initially they wanted J.J. Abrams to write the script, but he was too busy doing the pilot for Lost. I That is interesting. I wonder what a J.J. Abrams War of the Worlds script would have looked like. Um, but that just fell through, and so they got um, what's his face, Friedman, Justin,
Josh,
Josh Friedman, yeah, to write the first initial draft, and then they got David Kep to rewrite and polish up the finished script.
yeah, and we'll see this like even with Disclosure Day, which we're gonna probably spoil this movie in this
Oh yeah,
episode. We're definitely spoiling this movie, but it's from 2005. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. We might, we'll warn you, but we might get into Disclosure Day spoilers. If we do, we'll let you know. But David Kep often with Spielberg does these kind of metaphors and like these things that if you take them literally, they might not make as much sense. And
yeah.
I think some of the criticisms probably come from that, but we'll get to
Yeah,
it.
yeah. No, I love David Kep. As a writer, I know he's very polarizing to a lot
He's
of
got
people.
some misses.
He's yeah. Especially if he's not kind of grounded by great filmmakers, because like
Dude.
he himself is a filmmaker, and I do like some of the stuff that he's put out.
Didn't
But
he direct Stir of Echoes?
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
like
that's
that
pretty
one.
good. But he's also put out some stinkers out there like Mordecai, which he didn't
Oh,
write.
he directed Mordecai?
He directed Mordecai. He didn't write it though, which is just weird to me. I always find it interesting whenever a known writers direct movies that they haven't written.
Fucking one of our friends, I went to see Disclosure Day with him, and as we were walking in the theater, he was like, the problem with this is like, I'm scared because they paired the goat Steven Spielberg with the evil David Kep. Not like literally evil, but
Yeah.
like he just meant like he doesn't like his scripts a lot of the
Yeah.
time.
I think with Spielberg, I think they do work pretty well together, and I think they have a way of Spielberg has a way of having Kep write movies that are more cerebral in a way.
Yeah, yeah,
Than you would
they're
think.
a lot more, I guess, emotionally like driven by emotion.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, exactly. Like I don't know. I think David Kep, when he's paired with great filmmakers, like he puts out great stuff, and especially with Disclosure Day, it's like Spielberg had that story outlined
Yeah.
in a pretty detailed way, apparently, and
Yeah.
then David Kep just took it from there. And I mean, he was really satisfied with the script that was written. So
Yeah. And I think it's great. I do like the way that they work together, especially those two, because he like even with like Soderbergh, like I feel like that's a different type of like collaboration in the way that they work um together. But with this one, I do like how he they were able to find ways to make this movie a metaphor for 9/11, because I feel like there could have been other ways they could have done it, or there's like less creative ways of doing it, but they found some pretty interesting ways of being like, yeah, this is straight up a metaphor for 9/11.
The War of the Worlds is a very it's a concept you could kind of morph into a lot of different fears and a lot of different things.
Yes, we were talking about all throughout the years of like how it's been adapted to kind of fit the mold of whatever socially like scary thing that was happening at the time.
Except for one of them.
Yeah. We'll get into that a little later, but this movie was initially gonna be after Spielberg was gonna make Munich, and after Tom Cruise was gonna do Mission Impossible 3, but they pushed it forward because Tom Cruise was just like, no, the script is great. We should just like work on it right now.
Spielberg's the kind of guy where it's like, okay, which movie do I make first?
Yeah. He really
He's
is.
got like 3 lined up.
He always has a bunch of movies lined up, and like he has said in the past, he's like, yeah, it just depends on what movie calls out to me, and some movies have a bigger pull than others, and so that's why he does. That's why he picks the movies that he does.
Yeah, some movies just he's like tormented by them. He's like, I gotta get this idea out.
Yeah, and I think that works here because this was 4 years after that, and I feel like if they waited any longer, it just would have been like, oh, you're just harping on old events.
It would have been like making a movie about World War III with North Korea in 2026.
I mean, it's not impossible.
I know.
Yeah, but
it's just a jab because people say that Disclosure Day is like super dated.
Yeah,
it's kind of earnest though in that way. But it is a little, in some ways, it is, I guess, a little dated. But I think, again, we're I don't want to get off topic. It's just like, I think that movie is meant to show iterations of things. It's like the aliens looking like Paul is like, okay, but...
Well, the reason why the aliens look like, the typical little green or gray guys is because, the movie is about our perception and closing the secrecy of aliens since like the 40s, 50s, and the aliens that we've always kind of seen and known from that time,
like
are supposed to be the aliens.
Yeah, like the kind of idea and the concept of what it looks like that's kind of leaked through, and the cultural idea of what an alien is. It's like, what if that was actually real? That's exactly. The whole idea. Yeah. So that's why they look like that. But I just think that's the sort of thing where it's like you're going to see a lot of the same criticisms for this movie where it's the sort of thing where people take it so literally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not looking at like why would they do that? Yeah. Why would they design the aliens to look? Because Spielberg's done so many alien movies with different looking aliens. He's not going to choose the basic like template for an alien unless there's a reason to do that.
I mean, yeah, even with Disclosure Day, and I think in Close Encounters, they're pretty similar, I guess.
Yeah, but they're a little different. They're like a little taller, lankier.
In
Close Encounters.
In Close Encounters, they're like tiny. They're like
there's a tiny one, but there's also the one.
There's also the big one that's kind of like.
You get this idea that you haven't seen all the different forms of them.
Anyway, I guess we're getting off topic. We'll talk about some of the alien design in this one too, but basically they made this movie just really. They actually shot this movie in like 70+ days, so it was like a big overhaul of like the production and making this happen and work in a way that they kind of fast tracked the process. Was utilizing more newer digital techniques like storyboarding on a computer on the go.
Yeah,
which he kind of learned from George Lucas, and kind of figuring out the special effects as they were shooting, but they also utilized a lot of practical effects and practical sets as well, which helped make it look as good as it does. But yeah, I just thought that was like kind of interesting how they were just like, we gotta make this movie. It was also apparently there was a lot of secrecy behind the production and like putting it out. I don't really remember what I don't remember ever seeing a trailer for I probably have, but like 2005 I was like 8, and I don't remember like much of what was talked about when the movie was out or what was happening. I do remember seeing it, I think, in theaters with my dad and my brother.
I did not have cool enough circumstances to see like this movie in theater. I would see like 1 or 2 movies in theaters a year,
Yeah.
and it would be like Twilight.
Well, when this movie came
Marvel.
out, you would have been like super young.
Oh yeah, well this one I was 3.
Yeah.
But I was still. That's just how it was though. Still, like after just like moving on. Like these are the movies I got to catch up on. You know? It's like all these movies where people kind of remember. Like I never saw this even on DVD or anything.
Yeah, speaking of which, yeah, I do remember my parents getting the DVD for this, and we did watch it quite a bit. But I also remember watching this in theaters and like leaving the theater and like going shopping somewhere afterward. And honestly, I remember it being like pretty fun. Like I wasn't scared of the movie as much as I think I should have been.
I mean, you are, I think, the type of person to be like, that's just cool as fuck. Like it's not scary, it's just awesome.
Yeah. But I mean, I kind of grew up watching all types of movies, like rated R movies and all kinds of stuff.
Except you did believe that the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park were real.
Well, yeah,
when you were like super little.
Yeah, that was. I think I might have been like 5.
Because your dad lied.
He didn't lie. I think you're just messing around with me. But
well, it was funny.
Yeah.
You were like, "Oh fuck, really?"
Yeah, real dinosaurs. What? I didn't know that was possible.
Oh, they're back.
But no, I do like slightly remember watching this in theaters and just thinking it was cool. It was like such a cool movie, and it still is a cool movie. But I honestly think it's scarier now than I did when I was a kid, because I'm looking back at it and looking at like what it actually means and what the stakes are and like what's actually happening. And I'm like, that is a terrifying situation to find yourself in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty scary still, like conceptually. Like yeah. I'm not reaching for the covers watching it, but I think conceptually it is like pretty terrifying, especially if you are like a young kid. Like again, like Spielberg wanted kids to be able to see this.
He wanted to make a horror movie that kids could also watch.
Yeah, so it's PG-13, I believe,
yes.
And you know they use this bio ray that doesn't really like have a lot of gore. It's just kind of like vaporizes people, which is honestly also very uniquely conceptually scary. While it doesn't feel like a workaround, it feels like, oh, this is like unknown and weird and spooky too, because you got like their clothes flying off. It's like really scary because it only attacks organic matter. Yeah,
and it also it allows there to be that connection to, you know, the survivors of 9/11 who like were covered in dust and debris and all that stuff, and they were able to make those connections through like such little tweaks in like what they could have done versus what they did do. And I think that's like, it's so cool. Like I never would have thought to do.
It's kind of genius to be able to just make those images, like the image of Tom Cruise just like covered in dust returning home, like holy fuck, what is happening? And you know, grabbing all the shit from the house and like and not knowing
like
what to
realizing that the dust on him are like dead people.
Yeah,
like it's like basically he's covered in blood, but it's not. It's just like highly decomposed or like calcified like human remains or something.
Yeah, it's disturbing.
Yeah,
In a way that because blood is, there's a lot of it in movies.
yeah.
It's disturbing in a way that blood is not. It almost like goes beyond what you like. If it was just gore, it would be like easy to handle in a way, because you would become more desensitized to something like that than something like this.
Yeah, I just thought that was brilliant. I was like, wow. Especially getting older and like looking at what it means and what the movie was trying to do. I'm like, that's just so brilliant. Like how they thought of that. I would not have like even tried to connect the dots in that way.
Yeah.
But I also think that this is interesting when you just compare it to the movie from the 50s, because there's a lot of the similar designs of things, like the big eye attached to the like a long neck thingy.
Yeah, I didn't see that one in the theater either.
I don't remember the first time I saw that one, but it is like, I do like watching it because it has that classic 50s Technicolor sci-fi feel to it, where it's just kind of like a fun time. You're just like watching it.
Yeah, I would like to check it out. I haven't seen it yet though.
But yeah, there's some designs that are like very similar that they kind of stick with and they don't really change too much about. But the story itself is like very much worked around to make it a bit more relatable and digestible to people. With the whole idea of, you know, the divorced dad trying to connect with his kids, but then this event happens and then he has to like save them, keep them alive. And
you're talking about the Cruise film, right?
yes.
Okay.
No,
you were talking about the 50s film for a second.
no. The thing about the 50s film is that it's more. I think it's more like your usual like alien invasion movie. Like you get like several different characters and they have the government involved and all that stuff. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
the
sounds
difference
boring.
between that one and this one is
I'm just kidding.
they rework the story to revolve around just Tom Cruise and his children.
That's the thing. I don't like. That's the thing with certain monster movies, alien invasion, big event movies, is like you get a lot of government jargon. You get a lot of like guys in rooms discussing stuff. You get a lot of just how the systems are handling it. Yeah. And I like this movie because it's complete chaos from the perspective of just a family. Yeah. And the systems are not handling it. Really, I mean, towards the end, yeah, there's some stuff there, but like, again, it's still all through the eyes of the family going through it.
I don't know why I just thought of this, but I'm like, I think that's the reason why JJ probably went on to do Cloverfield is because he kind of missed this opportunity.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Even though he wasn't the writer of Cloverfield, he was still the producer, and I like him. Drew Goddard and Matt Reeves were all just kind of like, well, we should make something kind of similar to that. And there's a lot of reflections back onto 9/11 in that movie as well. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just like right now, I'm just like, oh, that's probably like not being able to do this movie was probably the reason why they did that movie.
It's really crazy how many movies are post 9/11 movies that I just didn't like. I was not aware enough because, one, I was not alive for 9/11, no. And also, like, by the time I gained consciousness and memory, I was not thinking about that.
Yeah.
So I would just watch movies.
I mean, even the same with because when 9/11 happened, I was not even in this country. We were living in Japan, and I was 4. I don't even remember, like, the event. Like I'm sure it was like on TV or something, and
yeah. But
I was a 4-year-old. I didn't really care. I didn't know what was happening or what the big deal was.
Yeah.
And yeah, it took me a while to figure out that a lot of the movies that came out post that happening was like related to it. So
there's just a lot of like, I mean, lasting trauma from that. Yeah. That movies have made me more aware of as well.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, that's what's amazing is like when you really are able to look at films in context of the world that they were made in, like things just start to make sense. And most people, I don't think, are putting these movies into context. Like, to a lot of people, movies are just not that deep, and they exist in a vacuum, and you watch them and you enjoy them, and then you're done. But like, they're really, I almost important like time capsules of like this is how we were feeling at the time, and why artists would make something like this at the time. And you just start to see like it almost stops being about like, oh, how flawed is the movie, like how good is it. It's more like, wow, it's just cool that this like exists as a way to reflect on a time period.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, yeah, I think the best movies, even if they are responding to something happening in that period that they were made, if they, you know, if you're able to still connect with the characters and what the movie's doing, it could be timeless. And like even people 50 years from now that watch this, they might not see or understand that it's 9/11, but they could still respond to it and be like, oh yeah, that's
I mean, the most you could hope for is that a movie allows you to empathize with a feeling similar to what, you know, the artist was feeling that birthed the art or the world they were living in, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're able to resonate with the characters, then feel the terror, then, you know, you're feeling at least a little semblance of the terror, of like being like, what if that happened again, or what if that happened to me, you know, what if I was in that situation.
I was thinking about like, man, I wish I was like, you know, my age that I am now when the movie came out, and how different that would have been, like to be like, oh, Steven Spielberg's coming out with another Alien movie after because at that point he's only done Close Encounters and E.T. And I guess like finding out that he's doing like a War of the Worlds movie would have just like, that would have blown my mind. I would have been like, what? What are you? What? And, But I think it's kind of this perfect match, because this is kind of, it's not a remake. It's more like a reimagining or an interpretation of the material. That you have both the book, you have the radio adaptation that Orson Welles did, that spooked the country for a second, the 50s movie, and now you have Spielberg kind of doing his own little spin on it, and it just makes sense because all those things, like, I feel like Spielberg loves. Like, I know for sure he loves the 50s version movie, because he's also said that he's a great fan of George Powell films, and he was known for doing like these sci-fi films in the like 40s and 50s and even 60s that were very production heavy, like a lot of special effects and cool stuff going on. And so Spielberg kind of taking on his own iteration of that is like just really, really neat. Also, I think it's the man, I'm losing 1 second. Orson Welles, forget his name for a second. Orson Welles' radio adaptation of War of the Worlds is also like great, because this is before he was a filmmaker, and you could just see that, you know, he had the juice even on radio.
Yeah.
And that would obviously affect how films would be made later on, whenever Orson Welles would become a director, and just kind of change the scape of how we would see and view films. So there's kind of like this entire history with the story of War of the Worlds, in which our reality is just like kind of morphing it and making it its own as time goes by. And then we have War of the Worlds from last year, and it just it just kind of broke the what do you call it,
the mold.
No, it didn't break the mold. It just it broke like the chain of like how
Oh yeah.
how everything, like how War of the Worlds kind of was using everybody's like idea of like the scary social situations that they are in whatever generation, because like the 50s version was about the Red Scare and the Cold War and like the atomic scare. The radio adaptation was like this precursor to World War II and the scare of going to war. And then of course the book has this idea of Darwinism and survival of the fittest and
I feel
evolution.
like you get like a tiny bit of that in the intro and outro of this movie.
Yeah, and
just a tiny bit of that.
And the intro and the outro of this movie's kind of taking from, I think, the intro and the outro of the 50s version, because they also have kind of this like intro where they talk about like war and like the human's place in our universe and all that stuff.
He blends together like all of the kind of influences and then makes it its own thing in the middle of this whole thing with this family.
And then Ice Cube just like,
oh my god, just the fucking worst. Like that movie is genuinely, I think, evil.
Yeah, it's like all it is Amazon promotion, and it just sucks.
Yeah, it's just slop. Like they made it during COVID, like for probably really cheap, and they were like, okay, let's just throw this together, and then they shelved it, and then they were like, well, we got this, let's just put it out. It was so quick.
I don't like the purpose of the movie was just so like meaningless. Like they just made it because they had the IP and they were like, we can make another
they could have done
movie.
Something a little more interesting with the tech AI angle, but it's just an Amazon ad. It's crazy. And also the tech AI angle, I don't think you would have to probably make like a real movie to do that. The screen life thing, I don't know if I don't think it works for War of the Worlds.
No,
I feel like they're just calling it War of the Worlds so that some people watch it.
Exactly. They just used it because they had the name, and they were like, well, we'll just associate it to this.
Even though it's completely antithetical to like the actual War of the Worlds, like what it's supposed to be.
It doesn't make any sense. Like every iteration of it has like had some kind of profound. It doesn't have to be profound, but some kind of meaning behind it, or some kind of metaphor for what the world is going through. But that one it's so bad.
Yeah, for example, I mean, in this movie, there's not just the dust thing that we mentioned, not just the chaos of everything, but like the way that the son character, Justin Chatwin's character, reacts to the situation and wants to go to war and like fight the aliens, like, and he gets angry. And it's also rooted though in like a personal conflict with his father.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a very real thing. Like a lot of young men felt that way and went in that direction after 9/11 happened.
Yeah, they immediately wanted to go to war. And I think with this movie, a lot of people are like, he's so stupid. He wants to fight aliens. And again, this movie's a metaphor. It's like he wants to fight these aliens not just because he's so gung ho about going to war with aliens. It's his way to protest his own father and like do his own thing, and that's what a lot of men and young men and boys were feeling and doing at that time as well.
Yeah,
and so I just think that metaphor kind of threw people off a bit because it's so literal in the movie. But
Yeah.
I like it. I think it works.
No, I
And
think it absolutely works. I mean, and if someone finds that upsetting, it's kind of the emotional response. It's almost like it's working.
yeah, I think people just think it's stupid. They're just like, yeah, he's stupid for doing
Yeah.
that.
You just have to like live in the movie, like open
Yeah.
yourself up to what it's trying to do. I mean, there's also the scene where everyone's trying to get at their car. I think that scene's quite frightening, actually, when they're driving through that crowd of people.
Yeah, and he finally has to. He uses the gun that he's been like holding around the entire time. And I think the great thing about that is that you assume like, oh, he's carrying this gun, he's gonna use it against the alien, uh, or he's gonna use it to like, I don't know, save himself or do something really cool with it. But in the end, like he takes out a gun to protect his family and all, but another gun shows up. Like
And
when
then
you bring violence, violence comes and finds you.
and then they get away, and he drops the gun, and then some random guy picks it up,
And then
and it
shoots
just
that guy.
yeah, it just continues the cycle. Yeah, like it's like once you invite it, it just spreads.
Yeah, and I thought that was great too because uh, they could have gone the such a cliche route of being like, oh, this is the part where the aliens come, and then he comes out and shoots them or does something like crazy. But
Yeah.
it's like, no, that's not what the movie's about.
No, of course we're gonna use it on each other. That's
Yeah.
the yeah.
Again, these metaphors just kind of doing a lot of heavy lifting, and
Yeah.
I kind of like it like that.
Tim Robbins' character is also a figure
Yeah.
that we see from the time.
Apparently, he's an amalgamation of like 2 or 3 different characters from the book. I haven't read the book, so I don't really know any of that information, but he's an interesting character because he kind of, to me at least, represents the very gung-ho patriot type post 9/11 who were too old to actually go to war, but they were so ready to defend their country, and yet they're completely like they're super nationalist and racist, and they just want to they see a different like part of history than what's actually happening. Like even in the movie, he talks about how occupied countries never win or something like that. He mentioned something about like how the occupation of I don't remember the exact words anyway, but he gets it wrong because America wasn't occupied by the colonies, and there's a sense that the white American, like, this is our land, this is like this is, we gotta protect it, this is our food, this is our.
He's just saying some pretty hypocritical stuff.
Yeah, and it's like, well, there were people here before you guys.
Yeah, it's like
you guys did the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I thought that's also I like that, the whole scene in the house, because it gets so much darker. It's like a descension into hell as the movie goes along.
Definitely.
And then you're just in it, and you're not only is Tom Cruise in the worst possible situation that he could be in at the moment, but he also has his daughter with him. And he's like, and there's the great moment where he's realizing how bad it is. And he's like, he's putting his hands in his head in his hands, and he's like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And it's a great push, and I just love that scene because that's where it really gets like truly scary.
Yeah. It's honest. It's like a little. It's like a little chamber thriller for a minute, with this just guy that's like, you just scared of him a little bit. It's like, oh, this is a little dangerous.
And there's even like the scene in which he has to literally kill Tim Robbins because he's too loud and he's dangerous. Like he wants to go to war with the aliens,
Yeah.
and it's like, you can't do that. And I thought that's also interesting because, again, we have this opposition that's not the aliens, but he has to get around it. There's like this obstacle that he still has to get around. It's not the aliens, it's the humans that kind of bring everything down and ruin what their survival.
Exactly.
We've been kind of going all over the
place.
But
really, let's ground this, okay? Yeah. Because ultimately, it's a Spielberg movie. It's about his parents' divorce. Forget everything else we said.
Like usual, he always tries to find... Again, when he's making these movies, he's trying to make them, like, relatable, and the only way to make relatable stuff is kind of...
The only thing he knows is divorced parents.
Well, use what you know and, like, make it personal. And Spielberg always tries to be personal with his films and tries to put himself into his films as much as he can, and that's what makes him work. And that's why people love his films, and that's why they're great. He makes great blockbusters because he understands what people want to see. And with this movie, it's just the antithesis to Close Encounters, which is, you know, with that movie, the aliens are good and they just want to make contact with humans. And with this movie, they don't care at all.
Bro, it's even yin and yang. Literally, Roy, Ray.
Yeah,
those are the fucking
true.
dads' names in those movies.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, that's really interesting. But yes, this movie is just like the total opposite of what Close Encounters is all about and what Close Encounters is even trying to say. But I do find it interesting that in the canon of Spielberg's alien movies, he disregards this as his belief in what aliens mean and are.
He believes aliens are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie is more of just kind of... well, and it is also an adaptation of something else that he's doing. So I think he puts a little less of his own personal identity in terms of his relationship to aliens.
Well, it's an adaptation. It's an adaptation, and it's a direct metaphor for a real event.
Yeah.
So I feel like he is more focused on that.
Yes.
Than he is, but he infuses his own personal stuff in the smaller moments.
Yeah.
And in the family that we follow, I feel like that stuff really shines.
Yeah, he's so great with like the small human details and everything. Like when Ray throws the peanut butter sandwich at the window. It just sticks there and it's slow.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
So, like, he didn't have to do that, but he did that, and because that's, like, a real moment of, like, frustration and, like, a father trying to calm his children and calm himself and try to figure it out.
And he's failing.
And he's just failing.
Also, like, I do want to say with these kinds of disaster, you know, movies, a lot of it has to do with usually that you can't lean on the structures you're used to being able to rely on. Everything's in disarray.
Yeah.
And I think this movie does that really well with tropes as well. Like, it subverts all the tropes. So it's like all of these small moments, like, you know, you mentioned earlier, he picks up the rock and it's like, they're like, is it hot? He's like, no, it's cold.
Yeah.
Or, you know, the wind is blowing backwards, right? The aliens don't come from the sky, they come from underground, right? But also, even in the character moments, the baseball scene, it's like, this is a dad who's trying to connect with his kids, and so he's like, let me lean on this typical dad thing, let's throw baseball, which is like such a template dad
it's just
activity.
A cliche thing. And it
doesn't work.
Yeah, it just happens throughout the movie. Oh, the lightning doesn't strike twice in the same area.
Yeah.
It's like everything that happens is like subverting what
it's challenging what the characters know about their reality,
exactly,
which is
yes.
reflected by him and his kids. I mean, he's making, making PB&Js for your kids, also very cliche activity.
Yeah.
And then his daughter's like, I'm allergic to peanut butter.
Yeah.
Since when? Since birth. Like, it I don't know, the movie that to me really ties everything together. It's just this idea of like, you are actually so much smaller
Yeah.
than you think, and these little cliches and these tropes will not save you in this situation. You have to get creative, and there has to be some kind of connection and working together, like how they defeat that one alien when he's getting sucked up. Everybody in that little pod had to work together to save him.
Yeah, it's all about, after 9/11, you had to kind of rely on the human spirit and need to help one another and lift each other up from that situation. And I think this movie also showcases that in kind of the later scenes, because we kind of see the worst of humanity in the earlier scenes. But I think that with every Spielberg movie, there's that silver lining. It's like
Always.
after great disaster and horrible stuff that happens in our world, people still find ways to come back together and fix the problems.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes the disaster is what brings people together.
Yeah, very true. But I was thinking of something that oh yeah, the again with the cliches and subverting it. He because we're kind of through the perspective of just this one small family, this man and his two kids. We don't see like big landmark events or any like big crazy set pieces, except from like maybe one when they're like on the ferry. But when the for instance, when the plane crashes and hits their house, we only see the aftermath of that happening. We don't actually see it happen, because that would just be too much. And even in the end, when the aliens are dying from whatever diseases they're catching, and the shields are down, he's able to put them in that situation without like it getting like too big. He's just like, look, there's no shields, and then the military comes in and takes it down. It just feels very, very grounded in a way that I don't know. A lot of other movies could have made it more big and spectacle-y, but I think there's more. The perspective is kind of what grounds the movie. It's like we're just from his perspective, and we're not looking through like everybody else's.
Oh yeah, it makes it so much quicker. Like, I don't want to say quicker, but like smoother.
Yeah.
And better than most alien invasion films to me.
Yeah, and we were talking about this because I remember watching. We were watching this last night and seeing like the clouds that the aliens are riding the lightning down into. I was like, Spielberg loves to use like clouds as like a way of masking the aliens, and I thought of Nope, and I was like, this Jordan Peele is just, like,
it has to
Nope.
be some kind of influence.
Yeah, Nope just takes like such a great amount of influence from Spielberg's work, and I just thought that was really
and
really
I think that's
interesting.
because Spielberg is like the guy for like these spectacle blockbusters, and then that's a movie commenting on spectacle, so
yeah.
using a lot of that familiar imagery and like sensibilities makes sense.
Yeah, the also with the aliens wiping out all like the technology, like kind of like
the EMP. Yeah,
and the same thing I guess happens in Nope, where like
the power goes down when
just
the
goes
alien
out.
is
Yeah.
nearby. Yeah, exactly.
And so I don't know, that was just kind of a quick little side note where I was like, this is very Nope-y.
Yeah. Oh man. I do think the movie, like, it is PG-13, but I do think it has tons of just terrifying images. The bodies in the river,
Yeah.
the clothes in the sky like flying down. Again, we've talked about the dust a couple times. It's just like these sort of things that they're not gory, they're not in your face, but they're really chilling. Like it just makes you so uncomfortable.
I think honestly two of the scariest images for me is when you just see the tripod, just like when you first see the tripod just like standing there just kind of looking at everybody before it starts raining, laser beaming or whatever,
Yeah.
bio rays, and it just makes that loud like honking kind of like evacuation type noise. And I always thought that was the scariest moment, is like just seeing it, and it's right there, it's so big, and it's like, what is that? And your worst fears come when it starts like killing everybody. And then there's also the scene right before shit hits the fan with the ferry, and then you see the thing come out from the hills in the dark, and the birds are flying around it, and everybody looks back, and it's there, and it honks its horn again. I just think the alien itself just like kind of looking down on everybody, just like it just it's just such a power.
The scale of it.
And there's nothing we could do. Like we could shoot it, we could do whatever we want, and it's just not going to affect it, and it just wipes us out. There's a lot of great just shots in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of great camera work. Like, Spielberg is just a god at all the technical aspects of filmmaking. So there's that great scene where the car is driving through the highway, going around all these other knockout cars.
That did something to me. Like, that scene is just incredible. Like, it's so kinetic, and then like the camera leaves the car and it comes back, and I know it's not a real one or it's simulated, but like it looks great.
The editing on it is like, they make it look seamless. It's so good, and it's just so kinetic, and the acting inside the car is also just so great, because Tom Cruise is just freaking out. Well, everybody's freaking out, but they don't, like, none of them know how to like kind of keep it cool, except for honestly the son is the only one.
Well, he's able to calm his sister down, and then we turn and he's talking to Dad. He's like, I want to know everything, and then like he starts telling him about it, and then he's like, so they're like from Europe? And he's like, not from Europe. So there's a little bit of humor in there.
It's a great little like scene, like scene that I don't know, it'll probably go down as like one of his cooler oneers.
Yeah, and I love the scene with the alien first emerges, because it's kind of like in this pothole, and like there's just these great overhead shots of like the entire group of people like expanding out, this perfect circle of like them looking at the ground, and it's a little bit of Raimi in there, like when the cracks start to form in the ground,
and it's just falling the cracks.
Yeah.
Also the scene, the kind of the shots that you kind of see from overhead of the ground, just like twisting.
The ground's like turning like a lazy Susan, like in the middle of the street. It's crazy.
And I think that imagery is just so cool. Just seeing, I think it's like a church or something.
Yeah.
The front of it just like moving, and the light coming down from the sun.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's actually a callback from the 50s movie, because when initially there's like they think it's like a meteor or something that hits Earth, but then like a part of it just kind of unscrews itself, and they're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And then the thing comes out.
And then also that shot that everybody likes from this movie, with the digital camera falls down, and you see through the viewfinder or whatever you want to call it on there. It's like, it's super cool.
I just think this movie looks great, like all the time.
Oh yeah, the whole thing is just
pushing
amazing.
in the way that he moves around whenever, Dakota Fanning tells him that his car has basically been stolen from his son, and the camera just like whips around. so great. I think he can do almost no wrong ever when it comes to the visual representations of his films. Like, even his not so good films are out there, but they still look fantastic.
It's actually ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, every time I watch one, I'm just like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, it
also,
just looks so good.
It also occurred to me on this watch that this, at first I thought that Disclosure Day was like one of the first moments in which he was kind of using that video game logic where you know, he's stealthing it. But in this movie, they kind of have that in the scene in which they're all hiding in the house and they're kind of hiding from the aliens. They're kind of using that whole...
Yeah, the mirror is really cool, too.
Yeah. All that stuff is great. I also love the way that they use tension and suspense in those moments, especially too, like the leg slipping out from under. Like, you could tell he's just playing with the audience at that point. Like, they didn't have to do that, but they're like, no, we need to hook them back in and keep them on the edge of their seat. Or the spider crawling on her face, you'd think that she's gonna freak out or something.
Yeah.
But then that's just kind of a precursor to actually seeing the real alien.
Another thing I love about this movie is that it doesn't... Like, there's a lot of moments where characters are talking and there's dialogue, but not a lot where they're, like, stationary. Like, there's a few. There's Tim Robbins and Tom Cruise talk, and they're kind of just sitting there. The scene with the peanut butter sandwiches is kind of a break point. But, like, a lot of the time, we're getting information and we're moving at the same time, like the car scene, or, like, when he's walking past that guy that's talking to him about his car or whatever towards the beginning, and, like, stuff's going down, so he just keeps moving as he's talking to him. It's just this pass-by conversation. As well as when we get exposition about the aliens from, like, the news people, like, they are loading up their van, they're getting out of there, but, like, they're you know, they take a second to, like, talk to him. Yeah. So it feels like everything is constantly in motion. Yeah. While you're getting information. Yeah. It's really exciting.
It doesn't sit still for very long, and when it does, it's usually for pretty, like emotional moments, like when they're in the house and you gotta.
It just knows when to do it, and that's what I appreciate. But yeah.
Yeah, we kind of touched on some of the other iterations of War of the Worlds and how this is a metaphor for 9/11, you know, the 50s, the scare, all that stuff.
Ice Cube one is, I don't know, if anything, it's a warning for how bad movies can be. Like, if we're not careful.
I guess, it's a warning for...
don't make AI movies, because this is probably one of the only ones it could make.
Yeah, I mean, was there AI in that movie?
No, I don't think so.
But it looked like there was. Like, it was just so bad that it looks like it could have been.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was, like, unfinished and shelved, and they were like, let's just use some AI to quickly fix it up.
I remember seeing the trailer for that movie and thinking for a second, like, this has to be fake. There's no way.
Bro, I couldn't believe when I saw that trailer, and then I was like, we have to watch it.
Yeah. Like, immediately, like, it's almost like you know when a bad movie is going to be a classically bad, like...
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is an all-timer right here.
It's and it is. It kind of is an all-timer, because you watch it and you're just like, how did they think this was going to work? How did they think this was going to pan out?
I debated of which movie from last year was worse, that or Flight Risk, because I was like, Flight Risk has, like, no message. But War of the Worlds has, like, an evil message. What's worse? I think War of the Worlds is worse. But...
between that and that, what about Reagan? Wait, is Reagan from...
Reagan's from, like, 2024.
Yeah.
Also, Reagan, one of the worst of all time. Yeah. Gotta be.
We always like talking about how bad that movie is.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we mentioned earlier, some of the criticisms about this movie is usually how literal the movie can be, but I think Robbie's motivations for those scenes are pretty solid, because there's that great scene in which the military's passing by and he's like, take me with them. And
well, yeah, it's like throughout the movie you get the dust and and the chaos and the hysteria and all that stuff. And so, you're kind of supposed to be on board by that point. That's like, oh, I see what this is a metaphor for. So,
And,
that's the kind of moment where it's like, it's undeniable.
and
It's like, come
I
on.
like that scene especially because it's kind of like the breaking point for all of them. They're all just kind of like we're blaming each other for everything, and Robbie kind of has that moment in which he kind of sees himself as being like a bit selfish because his sister's like, well, where are you gonna go? Who's gonna take care of me if you go? And that's also a sobering moment for Ray's character because he hears his daughter get mad at his son for wanting to leave, and because she could only rely on her brother than even her own father.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like a sobering moment for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's right before they lose their car too, and so the movie's just trying to find new ways of putting these guys in like just awful situations, and that's why I think I see the movie as kind of like this, almost this descent into hell, because every situation they get into just gets worse and worse.
Yeah.
But I think that's also why I love the ending and how the aliens are defeated not by humans but by evolution and through disease. And the ending monologue is just so great because again there's almost this sense of natural healing that the human race has to go through after every big social or impactful event that happens that's destructive. Like, people find ways to survive, and I think that's as best and as optimistic as you can get with a movie like this. Like, we can get through some pretty bad stuff, but we'll survive it if we can like last it out and like work together and figure it out. And I hope that's true.
And if we're better parents, I guess.
I think this is just a great Father's Day movie because it is like you're the dad just kind of figuring out his kids and like learning to deal with them and understand them.
They are aliens to him at the beginning.
One thing I've said about this movie is that it's a perfect sized alien invasion movie.
I agree.
And like we kind of mentioned earlier, it knows how to ground itself, but also be kind of a spectacle as well. It's not the way I said it, and I love both these movies. It's not like Independence Day, which is like a really big alien invasion movie where you have all these different characters kind of coming together, and you have the government people, you have the Jeff Goldblum, Will Smith, all this stuff happening, and the aliens are huge. Like the spacecraft is huge. Like, it's just such a massive alien invasion movie, which is fine, but it's so big that it can kind of get a bit messy. And then you have like Signs, this great little kind of contained suspense thriller alien
Yeah, because
invasion.
Signs is not, I mean, I guess you could say pretty much every imaginary element in a movie is not, it represents something else.
Yeah.
But like, Signs is very much just about faith and belief. Like, it's just a spiritual family drama movie.
Yeah.
It's not really an alien movie, but it uses aliens as a vehicle.
And again, I love that movie, but that's kind of a smaller kind of alien invasion movie, where this is just kind of like the perfect size. It's like it's got that small family intimacy thing going on, but on a much larger scale, because they can't just like hide in their house. They're constantly moving and trying to get out of the way of the tripods.
Basically, in a Goldilocks scenario, this is like the middle.
Yeah.
The middle bed.
The middle ground.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think of like other like perfectly sized alien invasion movies, and I can't really. I think Nope is kind of close.
Well,
But
the thing is, it all depends on like the scale of the threat as well.
that's
Like
yeah,
it's
that's
like
true.
Nope is about one alien.
Yes.
So in its one community.
Yeah.
And so it's like we're using this to explore this one thing.
Yeah.
Signs, it's like there is one recon group of aliens scoping out the planet and seeing what it's about, and this family is dealing with that happening. But yeah, it just depends on the size of the threat and what their intentions are.
Yeah.
And you scale that to your characters. But I feel like this movie is able to take what it does so well is like it's somehow able to blend the worldwide like just massive like threat that's going on with the grounded emotional truth of a singular family dynamic. So it is kind of that it is disproportionate, the threat to the characters we're following, but it works.
Yeah.
And it makes it work.
Yeah, it balances it out pretty well. Anyway, I think we've kind of gone through most of what we wanted to talk about. We could have done like a commentary for this
honestly
movie.
Yeah, in the future with movies like this we should give that a crack, because I think this would have been a fun one to do. But yeah, maybe one day.
Yeah. Anyway, if all the movies that we kind of mentioned in relations to this movie, I guess is a recommendation for if you do like this movie.
Yeah, Disclosure Day, Close Encounters, Signs, Independence Day, Nope, all of those good movies.
Great, yeah.
Disclosure Day, we just had an episode on last week, so if you haven't listened to that, you should check it out, because we went pretty deep on that movie.
Yeah.
We broke it all down, so check it out. Let us know what your favorite alien invasion movie is. Did we mention it? Did we forget about it? What's another perfectly sized one, if you have like a take on that?
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, I can't think of.
Well, my favorite alien invasion movie has to be Signs.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is up there.
Yeah, and like, what's another great post 9/11 movie? I think. Well, we mentioned Cloverfield. That's a pretty good one. Not alien related, but 25th Hour, great post. Like it's
I still haven't seen that.
It's the post 9/11 movie, because I think that was the first movie shot in New York after 9/11 happened.
Yeah,
and it's very much about it.
I think the best one for me is The Village.
How does that relate to 9/11 though?
Oh, bro, these people retreat because of trauma. They retreat and they regress into an older way of living, and then, well, spoilers for The Village, I guess, but they isolate themselves, and there's like the bad color, and it's all about that. If you don't accept that answer, then I would say probably The Happening is another one.
Happening, I think, makes a little.
I
bit
mean,
more
directly,
sense.
literally, opening scene. They're like, "Did you hear what happened in New York?"
Yeah,
like immediately.
Yeah, that makes, because again, it's almost, it's not an alien invasion movie, but it almost feels like it in a way.
Well, it's all about how we deal with disaster, how we blame each other, how we try to absolve ourselves of our culpability with it, or complicity rather, within it, and it's also about the environment too. Yeah. But also another thing about regression in that movie, like all the characters, when stuff happens, they walk backwards. They start to try to again, cover themselves in, retreat into their role in society. They start talking like children. They start becoming. They start trying to again lean on the tropes of like who they are, and like see how they can navigate situations that are unknowable in that way, and failing. There's a motif of like houses, like the modern like display house that they go to that's empty and everything's fake, and then they go, as they go to more houses, like they become more barricaded but also older, like another kind of regression, but like isolation at the same time. The house they go to at the end is like crawling with like plants, and there's just like the old lady is like super isolated from the rest of the world. She's almost like in her own personal The Village. I'm telling you, this stuff he's cooking with these. Like, they're both pretty similar.
I mean, I see those kinds of similarities. I just think yeah, just kind of broad. Like,
Well, I always thought
because
that the village had a little bit of a race thing with. That's why I brought up the bad color. Like everyone in that community is white, and they're
yeah.
like, "Oh, beware the bad color."
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. It's like it's so broad. Like retreating doesn't really give me 9/11. It's almost the opposite. Honestly, I think a more relatable um, M Night movie to 9/11 is, I think, ironically, uh, Unbreakable. Even though that came out, I think, before
Right
9/11.
before, yeah.
Yeah, because the big disaster happening, and you can like kind of finding your purpose after that, and
Yeah, it's not a big disaster. It's like a well,
it's
it is a big
good,
disaster, but like it's not like a world altering event that happens.
no,
One
but
train derails,
but someone like
and it is between Philly and he's going to New York when it
Yeah.
happens, so it kind of makes sense.
yeah. Anyway, we kind of get off of topic a little bit there, but yeah, let us know what your favorite post 9/11 movie
And why is it The Village?
Yeah, I like this movie a lot. I for a while I gave it like 4 stars, but then the more I watched it, I gave it 4.5 stars. I think at this point I might as well just give it 5 stars. I mean, there's not much that I really dislike about it, and all the problems that people have talked about it, I just kind of don't really care about those because I feel like the movie is trying to do something different than what people kind of want it to be.
Yeah, I would give this 4.5 at the moment.
Yeah.
Really great stuff. Steven
I
Spielberg.
got to change that rating on Letterboxd now.
Oh, no.
Now like all like half of Spielberg's films are now 5 stars.
That's okay. I have every M. Night movie for me except for I think 5 of them is 5 stars for me.
How many has he done?
16. So
he's done 16 movies?
16. So
oh wow.
Praying with Anger, Wide Awake, Last Airbender, After Earth, and The Happening are not 5 stars.
Those first 2, yeah, I don't even consider.
Yeah, they're not 5 stars. The rest are.
Yeah.
The Happening's close. It's almost there. Just give them like another watch, and I think I might actually go full psychopath.
Well, I still need to revisit like AI.
Yeah, true. That's another one at risk for me as well. I watched that again. It just might happen.
Yeah, it was for the longest time. It was my least favorite Spielberg movie, but I feel like when I first saw it, I was barely a teenager. I didn't know nothing about nothing. I just thought it was whatever. But now, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like top tier Spielberg if I were to give it a rewatch. Or at least I would have much more respect for what the movie's trying to do.
Yes.
But that's just me.
Well, also let us know what your favorite Spielberg is. Why not?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this was a fun one. I'm glad we
Yeah.
did this one. What'll happen next week? I don't even know.
Yeah,
we're gonna have
figure that
to.
out.
We're gonna look at the slate and get to work on that. So, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think we talked a lot about it.
All right. Well, I've been Peyton,
And I've been Adrian.
and we'll see you next time on the Apple Box.